Welcome to another movie plot. It opens with a Russian space station communicating with a research ship in the South Pacific. Suddenly a deep space electrical storm strikes the station, killing everyone on board and transferring itself down to the ship. It disables the vessel, leaving the crew adrift with a highly intelligent alien computer virus. 1 week later, the tugboat Sea Star's nearby and struggling to make it out of a typhoon. It's salvaged a barge of uninsured supplies that's Captain Robert's last chance to get out of a debt. Former Navy officer Kelly relays the odds of survival, but Robert doesn't want to hear it and just gives his orders to the first mate Woods. Suddenly a hole rips through the deck and they begin taking on water, so the engineer Steve tells the captain that he's going to cut the line to the tug. The desperate Roberts prevents him at gunpoint, but the line snaps and the whole payday's lost at sea anyway. Afterwards, Kelly suggests that they take refuge in the eye of the storm to make repairs. The crew member Squeaky helps out with morale, while deckhand Hiko assists Kelly on the radar, where she's located the Russian ship nearby but gets no response. Another crew member, Richie, asks where the captain is, as we're shown Robert sitting alone in his cabin, depressed. He's about to end it all when Woods inadvertently saves his life with the news of the ship dead in the water, as the captain hopes that it could be worth a pretty penny. While pulling up alongside it, they identify the ship as a Russian science vessel outfitted with machine shops and advanced robotics. They climb aboard and find no sign of a crew, but several areas riddled with bullet holes and blood splatter. All transmission equipment on the ship's destroyed, and they suspect it's the result of pirates, much to Robert's delight, who envisions the salvage to be worth more than $30 million in profits. In order to move the ship, Squeaky and Steve go to the engine room and restore power. The moment they reconnect cut wires, we see the ship's computer come to life and begin building mechanical creatures to defend itself. It waits until the Sea Star pulls up beside it, then drops the anchor through it, nearly crushing Hiko. The tugboat that they arrived on slowly sinks, while the deckhand is left wounded and needing assistance. Steve leaves Squeaky behind to guard the engine room and assist the others, but a robotic spider lures him into one of the vents out of curiosity. Suddenly the ship's power cables begin strangling the engineer and drags his lifeless body out of sight. Meanwhile, Kelly treats Hiko's injured leg in the ship's medical bay, when a person in a gas mask leaps out of a cabinet firing at the crew, but Steve knocks her out. The only survivor of the Russian massacre is a science officer named Nadia, who regains consciousness before raving hysterically about the ship being alive. She tries to run away, so the captain thinks she's crazy and still lays claim over the salvage, but Kelly chases her down and trusts her story that machines killed the rest of her crew. Unaware that the ship's come to life, Woods and Richie begin exploring by themselves and locate a weapons lab with torpedo launches covered in heaps of fresh spilled blood. They're attacked by a robotic snake-like creature, but use weapons they took from the munitions depot to destroy it. The next room they come across is a fully automated workshop producing the hive mind of robots, so Richie shuts it down. It turns itself back on at the breaker and begins producing more, so Richie checks out a newly created machine, but it shoots at him with a nail gun, hitting Woods in the shoulder. It taps Richie with a drill when a masked person begins firing at the intruders, forcing Richie and Woods to flee for their lives. When Steve couldn't get Squeak on the radio, he went searching to find the engine room abandoned and the door welded shut. He meets up with the other two when they're suddenly greeted again by the stranger, who's revealed to be body parts held together by machines. The cyborg opens fire on the intruders, but Richie and Steve shoot back, eventually destroying it. At the bridge, Robert accuses Nadia of being the one who dropped the anchor and threatens to shoot her if she doesn't give him Squeak's whereabouts, but Kelly protects her when the trio arrive with the real culprit. Nadia recognizes the fleshy parts as her former captain and is given a chance to explain what happened. She says that it's a digital alien that hitchhiked to Earth from their satellite and took control of the machine shops. It built the smaller robots called gatherers to kill her crew and then used their corpses to give itself the body it never had. Richard still doesn't believe her and thinks it's some Soviet Frankenstein invention, when Richie notices a self-contained power unit that allows it to continue fighting. Hiko uses a machete to cut off its arm when the eye of the storm passes over them and a wave crashes into the ship. The cyborg splits in half and turns into a servo skull, but Richie's able to finally destroy what remains of Nadia's husband. The crew head for the computer room to find a way to destroy the virus, but are attacked by a cyborg Squeaky. He's accompanied by a larger robot that punches straight through Woods as the survivors fire bullets that just bounce off it, before retreating into a communications room where they barricade themselves inside. Richie finds a working radio, but the captain shoots it to prevent anyone else from stealing his salvage, getting him punched by Kelly as they've no other way off the ship. Richie attempts to communicate with the alien life form through the computer and it begins replying to him. It calls mankind a virus as its motive for wanting it destroyed and only wants humanity for spare parts to create more cyborgs. Just then Squeaky breaks into the room, but Richie fills him full of bullets, destroying his friend, which sends him insane, and he blows a hole through the wall and runs out looking for more revenge. The crew chases after him, but the captain stays in the communications room and uses the computer to talk to the alien. In exchange for his freedom and the salvage, it requests his help in one of the machine shops. Unable to find Richie, the crew decide to destroy the computer but find the room empty with only a few gatherers remaining. The alien has moved itself to the machine lab that Robert's been invited to and is being heavily guarded by robots. They Frankenstein a number of body parts together, including the captain's 25-year-long friend Woods, but by now he's gone completely insane and just offers his services to help the alien computer survive. The rest of the group try to return to the bridge but find themselves welded inside and the larger robot charging them. While shooting at it, they find an open hatch and flee to the upper deck where the heavy-set droid can't follow. They go outside to reach the bridge, but with the typhoon still raging, Kelly's almost knocked overboard but is saved by Hiko. Before they all make it inside, another wave hits and he's blown overboard, as the rest of the group have no option but to leave him. They notice that the ship redirected its course and discover its new location to be a nearby island that houses an intelligence station. It would allow the virus to send itself anywhere on Earth, so Steve, Kelly and Nadia agree to sink the ship. Just then the newest cyborg enters with Captain Robert's head, the torso of a Russian sailor and a few mechanical parts. Now with all of his knowledge of the crew, the creature attacks them, but Kelly empties a mag into his head, while Nadia manages to stick a grenade inside his robotic lower half and Steve tackles him outside of the room. The captain's destroyed from the inside, leaving nothing but a thermite hole melted through the floor. With time running out, the crew decide to sink the ship by flooding it with fuel and detonating it, while Richie started creating his own escape route with a device to simultaneously destroy the vessel. After killing attacking robots, he uses their mechanical components to combine with parts he salvages from the weapons. He briefly passes the rest of the crew but says he has his own mission to accomplish and goes the other direction. The other three empty all the fuel tanks into the bilge and plant an explosive, giving themselves enough time to escape. Suddenly a giant robot named Goliath breaks down the doors and knocks Steve unconscious and Kelly flying. She falls into the flooded bilge where she's surrounded by dozens of decaying Russian crew members. While she struggles to swim in the fuel, Goliath follows her downstairs to capture her and drag her back to the robot's workshop. The alien's about to lobotomize her, but first Goliath tortures Kelly for the location of the bomb. Just then Steve enters firing his weapon but is knocked back as Nadia starts firing hers. Suddenly a kitted out Richie with an RPG hits the cyborg straight on, giving them time to rescue Kelly, but Goliath returns and brings the roof down on top of the boys. After locating the explosive, it intercepts the girls to crush it in front of them in a bragging manner. It catches Nadia, so not knowing of any other bombs, she shoots nearby explosive canisters to sacrifice herself and destroy the alien, but it survives and continues to go after the final girl. A fatally injured Richie decides to reveal to Steve his one-man escape plan set up in the ship's torpedo room. On his way there, Steve locates Kelly and the two see what Richie's escape plan was: a torpedo attached to an ejection seat designed to save just one of them. Steve straps Kelly into the device when Goliath begins ripping its way through the floor, so Kelly risks it with the two of them in the same seat and activates it. The torpedo tows them out of the other launcher and lands safely in the ocean at night, while their escape triggers the bomb left behind by Richie. It ignites the fuel, destroying the ship and alien virus, giving off a large glow on the horizon and allowing a rescue ship to locate them. The next morning Kelly wakes up and finds a drifting Hiko badly burned, but he attacks her when she wakes up on a helicopter, safe with Steve having just had a nightmare. And the movie ends.